right, testing. All right, testing. Just making sure the mic is on. All right, guys, good afternoon. Welcome aboard to the Aftermarket Recap. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. It is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, little white logo there. Click on that. Subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications. Like our videos, please. Helps the algorithm. If you like these videos, comment any of your questions on the comment section of the video. Appreciate it again, as always, guys. Mashing that like button means the world to me. Let's talk about the market today. Dow Jones gained 38 points. Nasdaq gained 0.23%, and the S&P gained 0.28%, while the VIX, again, still below 20, 1762, up down 4.29%. Equal weight of the S&P didn't have a great day. Well, not as great as the regular S&P. This is equal weight. All 500 companies, 0.08% to the upside. So not exactly amazingly bullish, other than the fact that the Nasdaq was bullish today. Look at small caps today. Small caps took a hit, down 0.74% on IWM, which is 215.99. The dollar down 0.66%. We talk about that a lot. The dollar. If the dollar is weaker, it does definitely help tech. The growth tech, 0.66% to the downside, and 10-year Treasury yields down to 1.725% of the 10-year. So again, we had a little bit of a dip there, and the dollar going down set up that nice bullish backdrop. Let's take a look at high yield credit, up 0.16%, 86.48. That's HYG. LQD, which is investment grade bonds, slid a little bit, down 0.07%. Crude oil was up 1.90%, 82.76 a barrel. 18.25 for gold, up 0.44%. Silver gained 1.61%, 23.18. And we can see crypto was up today, 33.57 on the futures for Ethereum, 43,740 for Bitcoin futures, with gasoline up 1.47% at $2.39 a gallon. Let's go ahead and move this right there so I can have Bitcoin separately. All right, cool. So what happened today? Well, if you watched the morning note this morning, we were talking about CPI. Again, the inflation reading. I got a lot of questions with that. Like, what is that good or bad for stocks? And it's kind of a bigger issue than that. So again, inflation is too many dollars chasing too few goods. And again, we know, pick your reason. Again, stimulus, spending money, money printer, you can name that. You can also name supply chain issues, people not going back to work, etc., etc. So right now, industry is having kind of a tough time trying to understand, should they stack inventories thinking that the demand is still going to come through, in a booming economy, or do we just hold back on purchase orders because this may not last? So again, if you're a factory owner or what have you, you have to base it on that demand. So again, we all know where COVID is still kind of hanging over our heads. So again, maybe some factory managers, let's just say purchase managers, are probably thinking to themselves, hey, what if we get a lockdown? Should we start creating booming more inventory out? Should we be churning out more supply of anything? And again, obviously semiconductor shortages does hurt cars, but again, apparel, sneakers, bags, what have you, clothing, let's just say, again, that still has to come from the manufacturer. So the manufacturer is probably thinking to themselves, hey, should we double our production in order to meet demand? So the question is that in total of inflation, but demand is harder to obtain in an economy. You can't force people to buy things. I mean, you can give them money to buy things, but not everyone buys things. That's kind of hard to do. But you can cut back supply to basically zero. So I always kind of use that, the analogy of looking at a growth company, what's more important, earnings or profit? And I always say sales. You can't fake sales. So earnings is sales. So again, you can cut, your workforce, you can lay off a bunch of people and squeeze out a profit, let's just say. I don't think profits are great, don't get me wrong, it's important, but it doesn't tell the whole tale, especially when you're first starting out with a new company. Again, one of these IPOs out there, they may not be making a lot of profit right away, but again, Amazon didn't either right off the rip, so it takes time. But again, if the revenue is generated there, that's what I really look for in a new company. So that kind of works with the inflation argument too. Is the demand still going to outstrip supply? So again, we had a high number, the highest since 1982, where we had inflation. Back in the late 70s, we had the energy crisis, and then of course recession in 1980, and then in 82, inflation was really creeping on its head. It was really getting really bad. If you kind of look back at history, or if you're old enough, if you watch this, Back in the day, you're talking about mortgages were 16%. Imagine that, 16% for a mortgage. That's how hard it was back then to generate liquidity because there was so much of it. There was inflation, and then you had stagflation. So in order to curb inflation, the only thing the Federal Reserve can do is really hike rates and make capital a little more difficult to obtain, let's just say, hence borrowing money. So I say that with looking at this inflation data and I was reading it, that yeah, it was nice that it was a good report. But again, guess what? Now we have to see if this is a trend. Again, we had a spike, sure. I mean, it's a big spike. But again, is this a trend? I think that's what the Fed is looking for. I don't know if they're going to go with a March rate hike. This inflation report doesn't really tell us much on there. But at the end of the day, I mean, we have to keep just watching. And to me, the next big thing to watch for is earnings. That's really the key, is earnings. So looking at the chart here on the S&P, you can see here, we're right at the 200-day moving average on S&P on the hourly. If we go to the daily, we did clear the 50-day head right above, so we're good there. But looking at the hourly, what I wanted to see was to close above 47.30. We didn't quite get there, but a decent day anyways. I'm a little nervous here that 47.40 could be a resistance point here, and then kind of looking at the hourly, kind of a head and shoulders, right? So again, that's a bear scenario. So I'm glad that we had a green day, but I don't think we're out of the woods just yet. Earnings would be the real tell for me. So that's my monologue. Hope everyone enjoyed that. What do you think about BABA? BABA, I did trade. Yesterday I had it open. I took it today for around 82%. Well done. Taking a look on the daily here, I am a shareholder as well. It cleared that 50, which is nice. Let's see if it breaks 148.51, which is right on the 100-day moving average. Should be your next level to break. Once that does, then you have a gap to fill right at 161. I would say get the 155 calls to try to get that gap fill on the daily. But to look for is what to look for that level there is 148.52. Nice bounce back on Alibaba. Good evening, Carlos. Can you look at Vale? Doing great with iron prices. Maybe a great stock to hold in these conditions. Yeah, most commodity prices now. Let me get some water. Excuse me. Most commodity prices are going up, obviously, with inflation. So if Vale is very big on steel, like a Nucor, for example, this is iron, or Nucor with steel, yeah, I would say you could stay long this name on Vale. Yeah, if it's based on the commodity, sure. Like, for example, you have Freeport-McMoRan, they are copper-based. So again, that's kind of like a copper beta in a sense. Like, hey, that moves with copper. Did an ASAN chart, please, long for entry? Yeah, ASAN, never heard of this name. For entry, I think 60 was exactly the support level to look for. So yeah, 60 would be the level you want to get in, if you want to get in. Bought some VOO, BlackRock and Fisker. There's tons of insider buying. They're near support. BlackRock, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Antonio asked, do you think this is a dead cat bounce? Can the Nasdaq keep pushing, make new highs with reaction to inflation? I'm in TQQ 144, looking solid the daily. What do you think? If you have calls, I would take profit. If you are long in terms of the stock, I would hold it. So that's kind of the two-part answer. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq together. I still think we're going to end up higher in the year on Nasdaq. We're going to have a nasty drawdown this year, at least a correction. That means around 4,400 S&P. But is it going to happen today? No. I assume it's going to be happening in the summer. Seasonally, that tends to be the weaker months. So looking at Nasdaq, dead cat bounce could be. I mean, we could always retest the 100, which is around 15,704. If we retest that and bounces, that's really bullish. That means we'll probably go above the 100, the yellow line. So I can't say that a dead cat bounce because we still have PPI tomorrow, and then also we have earnings coming up at the end of the month. So I would say neutral right now. Let's see. Hey, Carlos, 2 questions. Thoughts on having Coinbase wallet to stay crypto? And thoughts on taking a call on SPY 472 for next week. I like Coinbase, so I would stick with that. I use them, and they're great. You can use them for staking. A couple of my friends do it. Taking a look at SPY, we're going to take a look at the hourly. You said 472 calls. It would be for this week or for next week. I don't think it's a bad idea, but again, we still have PPI tomorrow. Let's see the response on the producer price index. BlockFi is great for staking. There you go. Okay, do you think Lucid will move up with Tesla? Thank you, sir. I did get some Lucid calls closed today. Well done, team. Where do we get today? We got as high as 47.59. More than likely, we'll probably retest 44. That'd be nice if we retest and a bounce. Could it move with Tesla? Absolutely. But again, it seems like it's kind of in its own universe. It's actually a great setup on Lucid. You could see this downward trend and breaks right above it. So again, the trend is nice. I would kind of go a little more out of the money. I mean, a little more leaps with more a longer expiry on that one. And there you go. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your day. GARCapitalFX.com is the website. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Cheers.